Hello students, this is Waqar Ahmed, your economics teacher from Cambridge International School, Dasua. And as you know that today we will start a new chapter, chapter number 10, government budget and the economy. So before starting the chapter, I would like you to recall or remind that in the starting of chapter number 7, I told you that from now onwards, means from chapter number 7 to chapter number 12 or till the end of macroeconomics, all the economic variables we will be talking about will all be ex ante or planned variables. So in that similar fashion, the government budget or the budget we are going to talk about today is an ex ante variable. So this is the first thing you need to keep in mind. Now budget, or I can say that budget is not a word which we all are hearing for the first time. We all know that budget is necessary before we go on for any consumption expenditure. Every household has got a monthly budget. We plan to buy something big like a car or a bike, we need a budget. We are organizing a function in our household, we need a budget. Some company, some firm is operating, they need a budget. So basically everyone needs a budget, and in very similar fashion, government, which is a very big organization consisting millions and millions of tiny individuals or individual economic agents, also require budget. Now government budget. What is government budget? Government budget is the annual financial statement of estimated or planned or ex ante receipts and expenditures of the government during a financial year. So we need to keep in mind three things here. First, it is an annual financial statement. So basically budget is a financial statement, like we can say budget is a balance sheet of the government, which includes estimated, means planned, receipts, incomes of the government, means how will government earn its income, and then second part, expenditures of the government, how the government is going to spend that income. So all this is a government budget. So every government budget or every budget, so as to say, consists or comprises of two parts. First is revenue budget and second is capital budget. The meanings of revenue and capital we will be discussing later on in other videos of or the forthcoming videos of the chapter. So now as we know that budget is an estimation of government's income and its expenditure for the upcoming financial year, and financial year is from 1st April to 31st March. Now why this budget is required by the government? What are its objectives? Government budget has many objectives, or we can distribute its objectives into many parts, but we can all classify those objectives into three main functions. First is allocation function, means how the resources of the government will be or should be allocated. Second, the distribution function, how the income and wealth of an economy should be distributed among different sectors of the economy. And third is stabilization function, how the situation of boom and bust, inflation and deflation should be controlled to serve the economy in a better situation. So all these functions or all these objectives are achieved or can be achieved through the government budget. These are the, or you should remember that there are many objectives in your books. You will read 6, 7, 8 objectives, but all of the objectives can be classified into three functions, which are allocation function, distribution function and stabilization function, and now we'll talk about them in detail. Now the first objective of government budget, which is reallocation of resources or allocation function. And before going into detail, I would like you to tell that all the goods available in an economy can also be classified as public goods and private goods. Public goods are those goods which are made available by the government of an economy to increase the social welfare of its public or its pupil. For example, public parks, stadiums, rivers, roads, street lighting, all these are examples of public goods which increase the social welfare of all of us together, and private goods which are owned and used by an individual, which are his exclusive property. For example, my shirt, my car, my scooter, all these are my private goods. So now you have got an idea, or you can differentiate between public goods and private goods. So there are many activities in an economy which are economic, but which are not profitable for a private enterprise, for a private company to do. For example, there are so many big infrastructure projects which will cost, or which costs around 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion dollars, or 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 crores. So all the private enterprises are generally not interested into doing those projects, but those projects are important to raise or increase the social welfare of the people. So now who is going to do that? Then government can directly produce those goods and services or those infrastructural facilities in public interest to create social welfare. So this is the first objective of government budget, to provide all the goods and services, whether they are expensive or very expensive, to increase the social welfare of its people. This is reallocation of resources, or allocation function of the government budget. Now comes reduction in inequalities of income, or distribution function of government budget. Now we all know that since a very long time back, there are inequalities of income and wealth in every society, every economy. You talk about US, Canada, India, France, you talk about any economy, there are always two sections. One is rich and another is poor. So why does this gap exists? The basic economic idea is this gap of rich and poor exists because of inequalities of income and wealth. A tiny section, a small section of the society is earning too much, they are rich, and a large section of society is earning hand to mouth, very small, so they are poor. So how government budget comes into play and can help in reducing this gap between rich and poor? So there are many ways, but we'll be talking about two here. As you can see on your screen, these inequalities of income or wealth can be reduced through taxation policy or expenditure policy of government, individually or both combined. So for example, if government raises a rate of tax on rich people and lowers the rate of tax on poor people, so what will be the result? The disposable income of rich people will decrease, whereas the disposable income of poor people will not increase but will not decrease as much. So this gap among the rich section of society and poor section of society will not vanish, but it will narrow down. Second is expenditure policy. If government provides subsidies to the poor people, it will improve their economic welfare, or it will improve their income, and this will also be helpful in reducing the income inequality. So basic idea is in this distribution function that government should make policies which reduces the disposable income of the rich people, and should adopt policies which increases the disposable income of poor people. So by decreasing the disposable income of rich people and increasing the disposable income of poor people, this gap of inequality in income and wealth can be reduced, and there may be a more level playing field for both the sections of the society in the economy. Now, stabilization function or economic stability or price stability. As we all know that in every economy there exists a time when it is facing inflationary pressure over a longer period of time or deflationary pressure over a longer period of time. So, what is this inflationary or deflationary period? When the general price level of an economy keeps on increasing or keeps on decreasing over a period of time. So, that is known as inflationary pressure or deflationary pressure. And economic stability will result that these fluctuations does not exist, or even if they exist, then they exist for a very short period of time, because too much fluctuations in prices, whether they are upward or downward, are not good for the economy, because they result in lost confidence of households or firms in the economy. So, how can we avoid these situations of inflationary pressures or deflationary pressure? For that, budget comes into play, or I can say that budget plays a very important role in stabilizing the prices. For example, if there is a situation of inflation, means people are willing to pay more. So, what government can do? We discussed in last class as well. Government can increase the rate of taxes. This will decrease disposable income, first thing. And government can curtail or stop its expenditure, because government expenditure results more money in the hand of different sections of the society. So, by both of these measures, inflation can be reduced in the economy. Now, economic growth. Economic growth means a long term increase in real GDP of an economy. And what is the meaning of real GDP? It means increase in the volume of goods and services which are being produced in an economy. And how can we increase the production of goods and services? By increasing the number of factories, by increasing the investment. So, budget can provide us opportunities of saving and investment which will result in economic growth. For example, if government provides tax rebates, tax concessions to general public, then general public will have more disposable income which can be used in consumption, but which can also be used in savings. So, now if there is a situation in which we need to pay less taxes, we can say that we can save more. That saving goes to financial institutions or banks, then banks lend that money as to firms as investment. Investment increases, capital formation increases, production of goods and services increases, and real GDP increases. Similarly, if government starts some big infrastructure projects, so government demand of goods and services will increase, means now private firms will produce more goods and services which will result in increase in real GDP. So, through both these ways, government can create a situation in an economy which is conducive or which is good to promote economic growth, and this can be achieved through government budget. Now it's recap time, and government budget is a financial statement which shows estimated receipts and expenditures of the government during a financial year. Government budget fulfills three objectives in an economy. First is allocation of resources, second is distribution function, and third is stabilization function. Now we came to know that every budget can be classified into two different categories. First is or every budget has got two parts. First its revenue part, second its capital part. So in tomorrow's class we will start with the revenue part, or how does the government earns its income, what are the sources and how can we recognize them. That will be the work of tomorrow's class. Till then, stay healthy, stay inside, stay safe. Bye.